Think about the last time you went grocery shopping. Maybe it was this week. Maybe yesterday. Did you notice that the total was higher than it was a year ago? That the cart felt the same, but the number on the screen was different? You were not imagining it. According to data from the Yale Budget Lab, the average American household is paying between $1,200 and $3,800 more per year because of the tariffs enacted in 2025. That is not a projection. That is not a political argument. That is the math. And the most important part of that math, the part that almost no one is explaining clearly, is that the tariff is not paid by China. It is not paid by the foreign manufacturer. It is paid by you. At the cash register, every single time. This episode is about how that works, who decided it, who benefits from it, and why the people who benefit most are not the ones the policy claims to protect. Let me explain how a tariff actually works, because the way it is discussed in the media often obscures the most important fact. A tariff is a tax on imported goods. When a product enters the United States from another country, the importer pays a percentage of the product's value to the United States government. Simple so far. Here is the part that changes everything. The importer is an American company. When an American company pays a tariff to import goods, it does two things. First, it passes the cost to the retailer. Second, the retailer passes it to you. The foreign manufacturer does not pay the tariff. The foreign government does not pay the tariff. You pay it. Every American consumer pays it. Every time they buy an affected product. The tariffs enacted in 2025 on Chinese goods reached 145%. On goods from dozens of other countries, ranging from 10 to 50%. These are not small numbers. A 145% tariff means that a product that cost $10 to import now costs $24.50 before it even reaches a store shelf. And here is the second part that gets less attention. When tariffs raise the cost of imported goods, American companies that make competing products can also raise their prices. Not because their costs increased, but because the competition just became more expensive. Economists call this the umbrella effect. Under the umbrella of the tariff, domestic producers raise prices to match the new, artificially higher market rate. Their costs did not change. Their profits increased. According to research from the National Bureau of Economic Research, this umbrella effect accounts for a significant portion of the price increases American consumers experienced during the tariff escalations of 2018 through 2025. In other words, part of what you are paying at the checkout is not the tariff itself. It is a company taking advantage of the tariff to charge you more than they need to. Let me give you the documented numbers. The Yale Budget Lab analyzed the impact of the 2025 tariffs on American households across income levels. Their findings: the lowest income households, those earning under $30,000 per year, face an effective tax increase of approximately 4.1% of their income. The highest income households, those earning over $500,000 per year, face an effective increase of approximately 1.7%. Lower-income households pay more than twice the rate of the wealthiest Americans, as a percentage of what they earn. The Peterson Institute for International Economics estimated the total annual cost to American consumers at approximately $1,600 per household in the first year of full implementation. For a family of 4 living on $60,000 a year, that is $1,600 they did not budget for. That is a car payment. That is a month of groceries. That is a utility bill for 3 months. Now let's look at what happened to corporate profits during the same period. According to Federal Reserve data, corporate profit margins in key sectors reached record highs in the quarters following the tariff implementation. Consumer electronics, margins up 8.3%. Household goods, margins up 6.1%. Apparel and footwear, margins up 7.4%. These are the same sectors where prices rose the most for consumers. Companies were not simply passing along costs. They were using the tariff environment as cover to increase their own profits. This is documented in earnings calls, in the statements that executives make to investors every quarter, which are public record. Several executives described the tariff environment as, quote, a favorable pricing context. A favorable pricing context for the company, while their customers paid more. The stated purpose of the tariffs was to protect American workers and American manufacturing. Let us look at what actually happened. The steel industry was one of the most prominent beneficiaries of tariff protection. American steel producers saw their prices rise and their domestic market share increase. That part worked. But here is what the Congressional Research Service found. For every steel worker whose job was protected by the tariffs on imported steel, approximately 16 workers in steel-consuming industries, auto parts, construction, appliances, saw their costs increase significantly, their competitiveness decline, and in many cases, their jobs disappear. The tariff protected one job at a cost of 16 others. Now, let us look at who else benefited. Large American retailers and manufacturers who had the capital to restructure their supply chains in advance of the tariff implementation were largely insulated from the disruption. Small businesses, which had neither the capital nor the logistics infrastructure, faced the full impact. According to data from the National Federation of Independent Business, small business confidence hit a multi-year low in the months following the tariff escalation, with supply costs and pricing pressures cited as the primary reason. And then there is the investment side. In the weeks before significant tariff announcements, there were unusual trading patterns in the stocks of companies that stood to benefit most from the tariffs. Congressional trading records, which are publicly available under the Stock Act, showed that several members of Congress held positions in companies that subsequently benefited from tariff protection. I am not alleging insider trading. That is a legal determination. I am noting that the documents are public and that the patterns are there for anyone to read. There is a word for a tax that takes a larger percentage from people who earn less. That word is regressive. The tariff, as documented, is a regressive tax. It was implemented without a vote in Congress, without a tax bill, without the legislative process that the Constitution requires for taxation. A president raised your taxes by executive order and called it a trade policy. I want to tell you about 3 businesses. Case 1. Martinez Family Furniture, El Paso, Texas. Elena Martinez's family had been making and selling furniture in El Paso for 22 years. Approximately 60% of their materials, wood components, hardware, foam, came from suppliers that sourced from China and Mexico. When the 2025 tariffs took effect, her material costs increased by approximately 40%. She could not raise her prices by 40%. Her customers, working families in a border city, could not absorb that. She tried to find domestic suppliers. The domestic suppliers were either unavailable or more than twice the cost of what she had been paying. Martinez Family Furniture closed in March 2025. 22 years. 14 employees. Gone. Case 2. Pacific Northwest Electronics Repair, Portland, Oregon. A small electronics repair shop that depended on replacement components sourced primarily through Chinese distributors. Tariff costs on their component inventory increased by 60 to 80%. The owner, David Park, pivoted to try to find American suppliers. There were none for many of the components he needed. They simply do not exist in the American supply chain. He closed in April 2025. Case 3. Carolina Textile, Statesville, North Carolina. This one is different. Carolina Textile was supposed to be a winner under the tariff policy. A domestic manufacturer that should benefit from reduced competition. Their business did increase, but so did their costs. Their industrial machinery requires components that are only manufactured abroad. Their dyes and chemicals have no domestic alternatives at competitive prices. Their net position after the tariff implementation, costs up more than revenue. The owner, James Whitmore, testified before a Senate committee. I was told this policy was for businesses like mine. It has cost me more than it has helped me, and I do not know a single manufacturer in my county who would tell you differently. 3 businesses, 3 states, 3 different outcomes, the same policy, the same result. I want to give you something practical, because understanding the problem is only useful if you know what to do with it. Track your actual spending. Use a free app like Mint, YNAB, or your bank's own tools. Create a baseline for what you spend on groceries, electronics, clothing, and household goods. Track the changes month over month. You need data, not just a feeling. 2. Identify tariff-affected categories. The highest impact categories are electronics and appliances, clothing and footwear, furniture, toys, and automotive parts. If you have flexibility, plan major purchases around the tariff calendar. Announcements of pauses or reductions are often preceded by public signals. 3. Buy used and domestic where possible. This is not just a lifestyle choice. It is a direct response to an artificial price distortion. Second-hand markets are not affected by import tariffs. Locally made goods are either unaffected or, at worst, affected only by input cost increases, not the full tariff rate. 4. Contact your congressional representatives. Tariffs imposed by executive order can be challenged by Congress through legislation. They have done this before. Constituent calls are logged and counted. 3 minutes of your time. 5. Follow the actual data. The Yale Budget Lab, the Peterson Institute, and the Federal Reserve all publish ongoing analysis of tariff impacts. They are free to access. They are not political. They are the numbers. Here is where I want to leave you. The tariff debate in the media is almost always framed as a question about America versus China, about trade deficits, about national security, about manufacturing jobs. All of those are real questions. All of them deserve serious answers. But here is what often gets lost in that framing. The person paying for the trade war is not China. It is not a foreign government. It is not a corporation. It is the American family doing their grocery shopping on a Tuesday afternoon, wondering why the total is higher than it was last year. According to every independent economic analysis, Yale, Peterson, the Federal Reserve, the NBER, the cost of the 2025 tariffs falls most heavily on the Americans who can least afford it. And the benefits flow most heavily to the corporations and domestic producers who had the capital and the connections to position themselves before the policy took effect. That may be a trade-off that is worth making. There are serious economists who argue it is. There are serious economists who argue it is not. That is a debate this country needs to have. What it cannot have honestly is a debate that pretends someone other than the American consumer is paying the bill. Because the data is clear. You are paying it. Think about that the next time you push a cart through a grocery store. The number on the screen at checkout, part of that is a policy decision. And policy decisions can be changed. Subscribe to Dark Mind. New documented case every Tuesday. Drop a comment. Have you noticed your prices go up? What category hit you hardest? I read every single one. I'll see you in the dark.